Epic poetry is one of the oldest form of poetry, and as we know that it is a quite a long poem, and there are certain characteristic features and there are certain properties or certain sources from which it originated, and let's learn them. Epic poetry. The word epic has its origin in the Greek word epos, which means term or story. So it is a kind of a story, and an epic poem is a long narrative poem. There is, as the story has now numerous elements, so epic poetry also has numerous elements that are the part of the narrative, part of narrative skill of the writer about a topic related to the action of a mythological or royal character who experience a sequence of adventure, battle, or long and difficult journey in life. The action of the hero control the destiny of a state and are of great importance. The poem is written in a highly formal manner. This is very important feature of epic writing, that it is about a mythological or a royal character, that is a person of importance who undergoes certain adventure, certain changes in his life. And these changes are the part of would decide the destiny of the people at large, and hence it becomes very important as it is about mythology or royal character, and hence the language is also very formal. So it is highly formalized style. And this long journey, as we have a very famous epic that we know, that is Odyssey. And when nowadays we use it as a kind of a phrase that that is a kind of an my Odyssey has now completed. When people do certain arduous tasks, they say that my Odyssey has now been completed, because Odysseus undergo various changes in his life and various adventure, one adventure after another, battle, so many things were there in his life. And epic also, the word epic is also nowadays used as a phrase when we talk about something which is very grand. For example, his life is an epic now. The movie is of epic proportions, so on and so forth. Some of the prominent names of epic poets include Homer, Virgil, Ovid, Dante, Spenser, and Milton. Iliad and Odyssey, uh, that is by Homer, are models of classical epic poets. The theme of epic poem is specified in the first few lines, that is called a proposition. Proposition, which is the poet. This is followed by an invocation that is calling the muse that is the goddess, which is a prayer to the muse. Milton's Paradise Lost states of man's first disobedience and and the fruit of that forbidden tree, whose mortal taste brought death into the world and all our woe. This is the famous line of Milton's Paradise Lost, and it is an invocation to the muse. Epic is divided into books, and that is not one single book, but usually 12 in number. That means 12 books with numerous lines. Iliad and Odyssey have 24 books each, so we can imagine that epic, it is really epic. The hero in the poem is a figure of heroic stature or national significance. He is usually a warrior who faces opponents and performs courageous deeds that are valued by the nation. And that is the story. For example, if we count Bahubali, is also like a kind of an epic, which is about the the setting of the poem is vast and could include land, sea, ocean, the world, or even the whole universe. So in epic, everything is very grand. The deeds are those that require great heroes, spirit, and bravery. It is not by the common people, the ordinary man, but the person who with a heroic stature, with the heroic values. There are thrilling episodes or uh, examples. For example, we have troops, battles, duels. That are the things. The thrilling episode like this are there in the in an epic. Supernatural or worldly forces or beings such as classical gods, angels, or demons are introduced, and they play an active part in the actions of the heroic character. The triumph of holy cause and the victory of good over evil are frequent examples. In Fairy Queen, the character is personification of good and evil. Now, it is very important point here that there are the god and the supernatural things they play part. If we talk about Indian epic, particularly the Mahabharata, we find that there are demons, for example, Hidimba, Ghatotkacha, and there are many demons apart from that also, and the god and goddesses also there in the story, and they play a major part. For example, Lord Krishna also plays an important part in the entire story of the Mahabharata. And if you talk about fairy queen, all the character, Red Cross Knight, Lady Una, the dwarf, the white color, many things are there that typifies certain values, certain the personification of good and evil. Epic of growth. Now we are going to learn about different types of epic. Epic of growth is this is called folk epic or authentic epic. That is from culture on that that is being carried on. This epic existed in fragments for a long time and told by storytellers and wandering bards minister in the verse form. Earlier, for example, we have the story of Alaudal, or for example, if we talk about the Sanyogita and Prithviraj Chauhan, and these bard carry the stories, and people come to learn about that. And later, these verse form were collected by the poet and given form. For example, Iliad was composed in the manner of Homer and the Old English Beowulf, that is another old epic of English tradition. The epic of art, this is also called a literary epic, as the name suggests, is a work of art deliberately planned in an epic manner in imitation of its original prototype, original form. For example, Milton's Paradise Lost and Virgil's Aeneid. Mock epic, mock heroic, mock epic or heroic comic work typically satirizes or parodies that mock common classical stereotypes of heroes and heroic literature. This is very important to learn here now, that this form of epic, particularly mock acts, that means laughing, making fun of something. So this form of epic, it makes fun of the original form of epic, that is the serious form, the epic style of or the epic theme or the characteristics of epic poem. The theme is quite similar to that of serious epic, but it is presented in a comical manner, and incidents are quite trivial in themselves. It is close to the tradition and dignity of the epic form. For example, the famous mock heroic epic was written by Alexander Pope, that is The Rape of the Lock, in which the lock of the Belinda is being snipped off by certain lord, that is Lord Peter, and that become a kind of a, I mean, that was presented in a form of an epic proportion, that something, I mean, grand is there, and whole episode he used this, he used I mean he mocked about the society, he mocked about the epic style, he mocked about the mentality. There are so many things that he has used this mock heroic epic for writing his own epic, his own work. Epic of Gilgamesh, viewed as the first great epic of literature. This is very important, that the first epic is considered to be the Epic of Gilgamesh, is an epic form from ancient Mesopotamia. The poem is about the connection between Gilgamesh, a king who has become disturbed and disordered by his life, and a friend, Enkidu, who assumes dangerous missions with Gilgamesh. The poem focuses deeply on immortality. Aeneid is another epic. Aeneid is a poem and is a Latin poem that is credited to Virgil. Virgil is the writer, Virgil is the poet. It was written between 29th and 19th BC. It tells the legendary story of Aeneas, a Trojan who came to Italy and became the ancestor of the Romans. Mahabharata. This is an ancient Indian epic, as many of us know, and the longest poem ever written. It is attributed to Vyasa. Vyas is considered to be Ved Vyas is considered to be the writer of this particular epic. It is about Kurukshetra war and also has divine philosophical material in it. So it has, I mean, the Pandavas and the Kaurav, the demons and the deity, and the poets river Ganga, Indra. So many, I mean, characters are there. Iliad is an ancient Greek epic poem attributed to Homer. Set in the Trojan War, it describes the Battle of Troy, where it is very important and the most significant event in Greek mythology. It was written by Homer. Odyssey, it is an ancient Greek epic poem attributed to Homer. Again, it is another poem, epic poem that was written by Homer. It was probably written around the end of the 8th century BC. The poem is about a Greek hero, Odysseus, and his journey back to Ithaca, his homeland, after 10 years, the fall of Troy. Paradise Lost is one of the greatest poem in the English language. It is considered to be the full-fledged form or the epic in sense, that is the Paradise Lost written by Milton. It is the biblical story of the fall from the grace of Adam and Eve in language that is supreme achievement in its rhythm and sound. So Milton has used wonderful language in this particular epic. He has used Homeric similes, and he has it's a Christian story, and it is about the fall of the man, and it has a biblical setting. So it's very important to learn it. Thank you.